The date is June 2nd, 1988, and I'm talking with Mr. Hans Fahl, a longtime member of Central Lutheran Church. He was a charter member, about the beginnings of our church, so as to record it on videotape so that we could keep it in our library. So today I want to talk to Hans and ask him some questions where he can share with us some of the stories and some of the memories of how we came together as a Lutheran church some 62 years ago. Is that good? Mm-hmm. Hans?
Yeah.
Do you remember 62 years ago?
I still remember it.
You still remember?
Yes.
What do you remember most?
Well, I remember the day when they mentioned that we were going to join together, so we decided, we were there in church quite early in the morning, so we decided we would go and look at church over just to see what we were going to go to.
Uh-huh.
So we did go down to the Holy Trinity Church, and then we went back to our own again, had our service. And the following Sunday, which I think was the first Sunday of Lent.
First Sunday of Lent.
Yeah, and then we had the first service there in Central.
What became Central Lutheran Church?
Yeah, it became Central Lutheran. And
What church was that before, the building?
That was United Lutheran.
That was United Lutheran? Was that Holy Trinity?
Yeah, the Holy Trinity.
Right.
So, and then they, of course, we don't had so much to say about it because it was the Synod Board, so in Seattle, that they controlled the whole thing. They told us what to do, and they sent the men over here, so they sent one man for every Sunday.
They sent a different pastor?
Yeah, different pastor, yeah.
Every Sunday?
And they variated between the Norwegian, the Swedish, and the German Lutheran.
Oh, they alternated Swede and Norwegian and German
Yeah.
pastors.
So,
Okay.
and that, then finally they decided that they were going to belong to Augustana. Then the Columbia Conference sent a pastor over here, which was Nordlander.
Nordlander. He was sent by the conference, the Augustana Conference. From where did he come from?
He came from Cedar Woolley.
From Cedar Woolley, Washington. Can you tell me when they first started talking about the three churches coming together? Do you remember when that happened?
They talked about that they wanted to have a larger church because they had about 40, 50 people in the three different groups, and they mostly lived on home mission funds. Mm-hmm. Because the churches were not able to supply their own, remember. But then when we joined together, they decided which synod to belong to. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And there was no push from anybody, but people just had to vote as they wanted.
Okay. Now you said that because the churches were so small, about 40, 50 members each one of them.
That's right,
in each church. Right.
And that was really what cost them to get together.
Because they needed mission help or aid to survive.
Yeah.
Coming together, they'd be big enough to pay the salary of one pastor.
No, even when we got together, it took several years before we became self-supporting.
Self-supporting, yeah. So in the beginnings, you even needed mission help to even support yourself.
And the Columbia Conference, of course, was the one that supplied the funds.
The conference, Augustana Conference supplied the funds?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they decided to belong to that synod, so.
Right. Now you said they decided. Who was they decided? Yeah. Who were the people, they, that decided which conference? Which one? Augustana or Evangelical Lutheran Church or the Norwegian Synod or the ULCA? Which one?
At that time they called it the Norwegian Lutheran Church. It wasn't that the Evangelical Lutheran.
It wasn't the Evangelical Lutheran Church yet. Okay. Okay. Who was it that decided when you said they came together to try to decide? Who was it?
Well, it was the mission board of the three groups.
The mission board of each one of the church groups?
Yes,
Okay.
and they met together and then they presented their idea to the congregation here.
Okay, to each one of the
And
congregations?
then each congregation accepted it.
Okay. Tell me about those meetings. Were you a part of the mission board of the church Emmanuel?
No, I was not.
You were not?
No, at the time I was secretary of the congregation.
Oh.
But I just let that lapse. So but I was secretary at the time of the organization when the church was made.
Okay. And so you as secretary then were aware of what was going on?
Well, you see, they had a little bit difficulty with the man over there. And I had to sit and write out that I used to feel sorry for them to sit there and read up what they had said, you know, so I thought I used to stay home that night, and so I stayed home and they elected some pro tem.
So they elected a secretary pro tem instead of you?
Yeah, so then of course I got out of it.
You got out of it?
So,
But you knew what was happening when they met together?
yes,
Tell me about the meetings when they got together. What was it like? Was it all three church groups standing at opposite ends of the table, or what?
each group met differently.
Okay.
And then the time when they got little opposition was when the time when they decided to vote, to decide what synod.
Okay. Which synod group they were going to be part of?
They decided this way that 3 years should be sufficient time to know which synod you wanted to belong to.
3 years.
But then the German people thought, well, 1 year was enough, so then after 1 year we had this meeting.
Okay.
And just a moment,
Just a minute. Do I start it again?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. You found this slip of paper?
Yeah. Well, when we were moving from the...
When you're moving from your house
Yeah,
here to your apartment?
So I found this slip, and this was written that particular night. And it tells exactly how they voted. Well, they decided 75% should be decided in the vote.
75% was needed
Yes,
to decide.
So, yeah. Well, at first, at the 8th ballot, they had 74. So they decided to vote once more to get to 75.
If they got 74, they were happy with 74%.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then the total number was 76.
76.
So they were over the quota. But you know, now there's one thing that's kind of puzzled me on it. When the synod decided to get this church together, they said that no other group, all these two groups would start another church before this thing was going. Well, about 25 years after, then they started the church, and the Norwegians started one out in Terrace Heights.
So the Norwegians started a new church 25 years later in Terrace Heights.
Yeah. And then about 15 years back, something like that, then they started the ULC. They started their church too.
Mm-hmm. That's the church on 56th and Lincoln, Christ Lutheran Church, right.
So, what I always was of the opinion that they were not going to start a church.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to whoever had the field was going to get the field.
Okay. So in other words, that Central would be the only church of those three groups, Norwegian, the Swedish, or the ULC, the ULCA.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Now you said to me that there was at 75% or 75 yes votes.
I'll tell you how they voted. The first ballot they voted for ULC 30 and the Norwegian 27 and the Augustana 42.
Oh, was that the first vote?
That's the first vote.
Okay. Okay. They needed, what do they need? 75% or 75 votes?
No, they got 76%.
Oh, 76%. That's right.
So, and then the second ballot, then the ULC had 30 the Norwegian 17 and the Augustana 55, and it showed all the way through that the Augustana was leading.
The Augustana always was leading, right?
Always leading, all the way through. There was no back, it was always up.
Okay. How many ballots did it take to vote?
We had on the ninth ballot decided it.
On the 9th ballot, that was decided.
Uh-huh.
And they decided to go with the Augustana Synod.
No, we
Swedish
decided
Augustana
for
Synod.
Augustana then.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I heard
And
that...
then there was, well, the last ballot, for instance, the Norwegians, on the last two ballots, they had 4 for their own, and then the ULC had 20.
And 76 for the Augustana Synod.
Uh-huh.
Okay. How long did this meeting take you? Did you know?
Oh, it was about 11:30, I guess, at night before we got through.
11:30, close to midnight by the time they got through, huh?
And there was a thing that they used in those days. There was a hymn that is not in this hymnal here now. Mm-hmm. And it said, my church, my dear old church. Well, then somebody got up and said, let's sing that, you know. And then, of course, they had sung it so many times that everybody knew it by heart. And
right. Everybody got up
and sang that, you know.
And sang it by heart.
Yeah, so that was the conclusion of that particular meeting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I had also heard that they had later meetings where the Norwegian group and the had a choice and decision on naming the church. Is that true? I had heard that the Norwegian group had an opportunity after this to name the church then. Is that true?
Well, I never heard anything about it.
How did the church get its name Central Lutheran then?
Well, many people thought it would be nice to call the church Holy Trinity like it had been before. Mm-hmm. But then the people over on the coast said, no, let's centralize this thing here, and then you call it Central.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, and of course the word Central was quite popular at that particular time in the Norwegian church, because their largest church in Minneapolis was named Central. Mm-hmm. And that stood out, you see. Mm-hmm.
So the Norwegians went along with the choice of Central in the name of the church.
Sure.
So it was a good choice.
Yeah, and Augustana never said anything about Emmanuel. That was just forgotten.
I also heard that the worship book, the hymnal that they used, as you said.
Well, we used the ULC hymnal.
ULCA hymnal?
Yeah, because that had a common oral service at that time.
It did?
Mm-hmm. And it was a little black book, and we kept that until in 1925, or was it 1920 or 30, something like that, when the Augustana came out with their hymnal,
then they went to the Augustana hymnal in the 1930s.
They had that,
Okay.
And then of course they ran into the red hymnal later on when that came in, and then we have what we have now.
Now we have our green hymnal.
Sure.
That went from
so,
different color hymnals over the different history, the 62-year history, right?
Well, it's I kind of think of it like it was not too far along, not too far back.
It doesn't seem like it was that far ago.
No. And I do remember the 25th anniversary we had. I mean, the 25th year. It was on the last Sunday of Advent when we moved from that church, and we had a service there in the morning, and then those that were ushers, we picked up all the hymnals and put them in the car and drove up to that church on the Yakima Avenue. Mm-hmm. And that had just the first floor on it. But we held a Julata service.
Julata service?
In the basement.
You held it in the basement?
So we had a first service down there.
On Christmas
Yeah.
morning.
Well, they wanted to keep type on how the old things as long as they could, I guess. And they decided, well, Swanson, he said, well, do you want to have a Eucharist or you want to have a midnight service? Because within the Norwegian church, it was a midnight service, a popular thing, you see.
Yeah, a midnight service on Christmas Eve. And in the Swedish tradition, it was the Julata service on early Christmas morning.
That came about 7 in the morning.
7 in the morning.
On Christmas morning. And that was the difference, I would think.
Do you remember the 25 years from that beginning to that time when you worshipped in the old church building? Were there did everybody stay with the church? Or
Yes,
were there some people who left the church?
There wasn't any ULC that dropped up, but there were 2 Norwegians. And there was an old lady, she lived not too far from church, but she had a hard way to walk. So I said, well, I'll give you a ride home. So I took her home. Well, prior to that particular time, something had happened in church. There was some big meeting, and they had the church just filled. Well, it filled 300 people in that, and that was just jam full. And her husband happened to be the one of the descender. And she says to me, you know, she said, I wish my husband had lived to see this. Now, the other descender, he lived 60 more years, so he got to see what it was. And he got to be 100 years old when he died. You know a little while back, so you know who it is.
But she was happy that he lived and
I was just telling the girl, well, I'm glad you and Daddy got to live long enough to see that made it. Yeah, well, it was his Norwegian idea. She said, you know.
He was one of the dissenters, is that
what you said? The whole family wanted to stay with the church, his wife, and the children were just little kids like this, you know. And they were always going to church, and he took them to church, and then he came back and picked them up. For a long time, until finally he softened a little bit so he would come along to a service. But you know the funny part of it, I used to have childhood celebration when they had anniversaries. I had it up till from the beginning up to the 40th. And every time I asked the man, aren't you going to come over? Oh no, sir, I don't feel so good today, you know.
So he wouldn't participate.
So he didn't.
Do you remember some of the joyful times in the early years of the church? Seeing, the people come together and get to know each other. Do you remember some of those times?
Yes, well, the most active group that they had in the church at that time was the Luther League.
The Luther League.
And they had 53 members. And they put on several things. And they had, for instance, I remember one year they put on the smugglers board. And of course that was a big success. And,
when you say a big success, does that mean that a lot of people came and ate?
Yes, a lot of people. Of course, it was just a small place, but they all came there. And at that particular time, the Yakima Herald had reporters different from what they have nowadays. They kept type of people. For instance, Miss Anton, she knew everybody in town. And anything that they did, she was right there and got some write-ups about them. Now these reporters we have nowadays, you have to almost kill somebody before they get your
paper. In other words, they don't print the good news about young people in the Luther League enjoying putting on a smorgasbord.
Well, everybody worked at that time, and of course, it's the working, was getting the people together, and everybody enjoyed it.
Everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Was there a strong ladies' aid group or women's missionary group? Was there a strong ladies' group?
Well, there was a ladies group. In fact, the ladies group started before the church started.
Is that right? They had a combined ladies' aid or ladies' group before the three churches came together?
They started on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
And then the church itself started on a Friday.
Oh.
So they got ahead of them. And the Lutheran League, they also started on that Wednesday. They had evening meetings, and the ladies, they had an afternoon meeting. So, and I think that the biggest boost that the church have had has been from the Lutheran Leagues of those days. Because they were, not like some of the old folks, they couldn't write or speak too well in English, you know, so, and they had some officers, and the kids, they would write out the minutes for them and help them, you see.
Because the older people could not speak English well.
Well, they were not too, they were just babbling in either language, you know, in between. There was Swedish and there was Norwegian and Urans, you know. They just got a few words in between. They got by with what the ones I said. But then when it came to minutes, then the young kids they could take over.
The young kids could write the minutes in English then.
Sure. Sure. I used to tell, there was one fellow, Olofsson, he was the Boyd Olofsson Company. And I said, I remember his mother was secretary for the women's group, you know. And of course she was a Swede, but she spoke more Norwegian than Swedish. And so I said, well, you know, your mother used to write those letters out on those minutes in the Swedish, and you put them out in English.
And he would translate for his mother then, to write the minutes of the meetings in English.
Sure. So that's right.
Was there a men's club or men's organization at all? Was there a men's organization?
No, there wasn't a men's organization at the time. Just started later on, and that had a good start. In fact, we had it just like in Chamber of Commerce. You know, you had a button.
What was that?
You came in, we had a thing right there in the church that you went and took your button hanging on when you went to a meeting.
Oh.
And it was doing really good till, well, no, I think way back in the 50s when there wasn't the support. The drawback with that was that they didn't get the pastoral support throughout the synod.
Oh, I see.
So then it just dwindled down.
Just dwindled down in numbers.
It stayed alive in the conference until the new church built, and then they reorganized under this new church, and that only lasted for about a year.
And that was the church in 1962, the Lutheran Church in America.
Yeah, that's right. So I was the last president of that particular group of the synod.
And you were the last president of the Synod Men's Organization.
They gave a plaque.
Oh, the Columbia Conference Churchmen and the Lutheran. Oh, I see. That's the plaque on the wall then. Certificate of award to Hans Fahl for your service as president. Faithful service as president.
Sure, well, it's you did what you could, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
We had some really good meetings. We met down at Milwaukee. You know, that is the near Portland.
Oh, Manuka,
Yeah.
your conference center near
Yeah.
Portland.
Yeah, we used to have big meetings there.
Big meetings there.
And, everybody was enthused, but when they came home and you asked for the support from the congregation, you didn't get it.
Oh, I see.
And they tried to get something like 10 cents a member.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had an awful hard time to meet that 10 cents.
Getting that 10 cents per member. I have heard that the Columbia Conference of the Augustana Church, Lutheran Church had their conventions at Central. Was that true? They had a convention, or they've had conventions?
Yes, we had it here in, let's see, 1950, sometimes in 1950 we had it.
You did have it Central then?
Yeah, it was the time when Lund lost out and this Svensson got to be president.
Of the conference.
Uh-huh.
And that convention was held at Central Lutheran
It
Church?
was held at Central
Here in
Lutheran.
Yakima. Uh-huh.
Yes, and it was, I think it was quite a thing because everybody seems to enjoy it.
Everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I still talk to some older people in other congregations that tell me they remember it, and they remembered enjoying it too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Right.
So that's.
Tell me about the pastors now. In the beginning you said Pastor Nordlander came.
Yeah, Nordlander, he was born in Sweden, and then he trained as an architect.
He was trained as an architect.
Then he went to Augustana and he decided to turn to ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So he came out. He came to Vancouver first, and then he came to Cedar Valley, and then he came to Yakima. And then after Yakima, he left for Batavia.
Batavia, Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
Right, Midwest.
Yes, And then the next one, he almost broke the church. He died, of course, so there was an excuse there. But people just left the church right and left, and many of them afterwards, when they saw that he was gone, they wished they hadn't just pulled out but stayed on. And that was next to, the church was very, very delicate at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very serious.
So the problems were serious then.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And the next catastrophe within Central, when David Baker came here.
Well, how about Pastor Swanson? Oh, you're talking about the next time when there was a difficulty.
I was just.
Oh, I see.
There was, I don't know how many members pulled out, and we had about 1,200 members at one time, and then it dwindled down to about, it stayed at 800 for a long time. And then I don't know just what it is now because I haven't looked into the records lately, and I used to get some of those from the synod, and
You would know what the size of the church was reported in.
Sure.
Tell me about then Pastor Swanson came as a
Yeah.
third pastor, didn't he?
He came first. When Johnson died, then his dad sent him over here. He was a student, so he said, "You go over and try to see if we can straighten things out." And he came over as a student, and he stayed for during the summer, and then he went back to school. And then Spawn came.
Oh, I see. Spawn came. That's right.
Spawn, he was just ordained at the synod when he came out here.
And it was his first church that he served when he came here.
Yeah,
Do you remember the date of that when Pastor Spawn came? Do you remember the date? Was that?
It was in 1956.
1936?
When he came.
Right.
And he stayed, I forgot now, but I think he stayed about 5 years.
And then Pastor Swanson came.
Yes,
During this time, did the pastors preach in Swedish?
There was no Swedish. I tell you, all those Swedes were forbidden to not say anything in Swedish within the building.
Is that right?
Yes.
You couldn't speak Swedish or Norwegian or German in the building?
No, you couldn't use language.
So the pastor, of course, couldn't do that.
Well,
And the members couldn't do it either, huh?
no.
Oh.
There was never any foreign languages at all.
You couldn't use it. Just everybody had to use English in the church.
Sure.
I see. That was intentional. They planned it that way from the beginning.
Yeah. And of course, it was really hard and more so for the people of Swedish descent because that they had voted into Augustana.
Mm-hmm.
So they, you couldn't do anything that would emphasize Swedish. Mm-hmm. And they had some sort of a display of a museum of articles at the Union College down here, and then I brought in some Swedish things, Well, they called for them, so I brought them in, but they wouldn't. The Swedish would be left out of it.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And so he was very particular on that you be sure not to say anything because they,
say anything at all in Swedish.
Especially the Norwegians have more of a, I don't know what, it's kind of inherited feeling I guess they have towards the Swedish people.
You don't know. You say they had some differences, or
Yes, the Norwegians always have a hatred for the Swedes.
Always had a hatred for the Swedes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's for instance, I just tell a case. This Olofssons, the parents were Swedish, but they happened to move across the border, so when Olofsson boys, they were twins, were born, and they were born over near Narvik in Norway.
Mm-hmm.
So one time there's one of these Olofsson made a kind of remark to me, and Sponson was right by there, so Sponson, but what you need to brag about, he said, you are born of Swedish parents even if you were born in Norway. It's just because he was belittling something about my Swedish.
Oh, he was belittling the Swedes, huh?
So that's just an example.
That's just an example. But somehow or another, they got along with each other, Swedes and
Oh
Norwegians.
yeah, they got along fine. There's quite a few people that, young people that marry Norwegians, or Norwegians marry Swedes.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, Ellingsburg's girls, well, I mean, the Ruth, he was Swede. He was born in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
That she married that boy.
Mm-hmm.
And there was other intermarriages between the groups.
So there was intermarriage of the children between the Norwegians and the Swedes. Yeah. And then that started ending the kind of these differences or battles going between the groups. Huh?
That helped.
That helped.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
So things change.
Yeah, sure. Of course, nowadays it's all forgotten.
Right.
Because the people nowadays they don't know how there's a few. I don't think there's any. I am the only male charter member left.
You're the only charter member left.
Yes.
I know.
Those that are called charter members today, there's something of Sigmar's idea.
Mm-hmm.
He thought that the children should be charter members.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
And they were just little tots in. They had no voting rights, and they you had to be confirmed and a communicant member to
You had to be a
I have a
confirmed
voting,
community member.
so I have a voting right.
Are you the only voting member then left now?
I
From
am.
the beginning of the
Yes,
church?
That's right. So,
You remember what went on?
I should remember.
I should know.
Sure.
You know, now just this year, 1988,
Yeah.
the August, well, what is the roots of the Augustana Synod, the Lutheran Church in America, and the roots of the Norwegian Lutheran Church, the American Lutheran Church, have now finally come together nationally into the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. So in other words, what was done 62 years ago to form Central Lutheran is now being done nationally.
That's right, nationwide.
What do you think about that now? Why did it take 62 years, you think?
Well, it's a movement that we've been working on, you know, throughout the years. But that of course wouldn't be the individuals, the grassroots that would come from the leaders are the ones that get things started, of course.
So finally the leaders came around.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, they, at the time when we decided to the synod, I was over to, they had what they called a all Lutheran Chautauqua over to Fernando Beach. And that was, of course, German dominated, well, English, but I mean, United Lutheran that started that. So I was the first delegate from this church that went over there, and I got talking to them. Oh, you're from Yakima, yeah. Yeah, I wish the thing had been United Lutheran. Well, it's just one of these things, you know. That they decided this way, and it seemed to be working. And they were very much interested in what happened in here, and then they have sent men over here once in a while to as a guest preacher, and they make notation of what they see. So they've been satisfied with the works we've been doing here.
So you feel you were an advocate of unity amongst Lutherans many years ago and always have been?
Yeah.
Would you say so?
I was single at that time, yes.
Yeah. Would you say you were an advocate? That is, an advocate for Lutheran unity?
Yes, that we. I was in the Brotherhood, and the Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood.
Was very much for it.
Much for it.
Yes, for it, you see. So even the leaders that still lives, they used to talk about it. You know, remember the days when we used to, you used like to talk to nobody because there was no response.
So in other words, down the grassroots, you felt you were a group that wanted to work for unity amongst Lutherans.
I think it went back to the ministry, so that they finally decided on.
So would you also say that the laymen wanted unity, but the ministers, the pastors were against it?
Well, no, the pastors were against the brotherhood. That's the college churchmen. But the United Lutheran Church out in Pennsylvania and a few places, they revitalized the churchmen. And they are trying to spread it even into this new church, but it's a slow move.
I know. Yeah.
So that's that's the curious fault that it failed. The churchmen.
Okay. If you were to give some advice for now the people in the new church, you know, like now we have a new synod, you know, the Eastern Washington, Idaho Synod.
Yes,
we're going to meet for our first assembly together in Boise next week.
Yes,
And we got to get along with each other too. We are, you know, some of us from German churches, some from Norwegian churches, and some from Swedish churches.
Sure.
If you could give us some advice if you could give us some advice on how to get along with each other and to learn to know each other, what would you say?
First of all, they have to just forget their old background.
Forget their old background.
That's the main thing, and then just work for the unity.
And work for it.
For the unity. Because if they started to just think about their former, well, that wouldn't do anything.
Wouldn't do anything.
No.
Should we pray for unity too? Would that be a good idea?
Yeah, sure.
We finally get to know each other as
Yeah, sure. That's
as one in Christ.
yeah.
Hans, thank you so much for telling us some of the stories. Thank you for having it recorded for us.
Yeah, okay.
And God's blessings to you. You've been a long time church member and supporter of Central.
You can run on the 100th anniversary church,